Hi, I'm David Cherwien, cantor at Mount Olive Lutheran Church in South Minneapolis. I'd like to welcome you to the organ loft here at Mount Olive, which was the home of Paul Mons for over 30 years as he served here as cantor, and also for 16 years the home of composer, organist, church musician Mark Cedio. And now for the past 20 years, myself. I'm the lucky one. My assignment today is to talk about the hymn introduction. The introduction to a hymn is a critical moment for the hymn. It's a moment that is ripe with opportunity to do some very exciting invitation to singing, or meaningful, perhaps, invitation to singing, enough so that it really does, the introduction, warrant some thought and preparation. Now, if you ask just about any professional, what is the role of the introduction? You'll get a list of musical things that need to occur. Setting the tempo, it's helpful if everybody sings in the same key, you relay the tune, perhaps add mood to that mix. The introduction can certainly and does need to be all of those things, but it can be so much more. The introduction needs to announce the meaning of the text. Why is this hymn here and what does it mean? Can I bring that out into the room before we start singing? So it's not unlike preaching, only it happens with the music instead of from the pulpit, together with the texts of the hymns that we're singing. Sometimes the main point or the main affect is buried in stanza 3. So it's important to not only go by the title or the first line or the first stanza, the whole thing. And ask the question, is there a general affect that you can illuminate? Is it full-bodied praise? Is it muted prayer? Now, several traditions have, as a tradition, simply playing the first and last line of the hymn as the introduction, and perhaps that is enough. So at the minimum, however, we're invited to register the organ or orchestrate the organ accordingly already in the introduction. If it says, all people that on earth do dwell, rather than do it something kind of halfway, why not give them permission to sing full-voiced by putting the full organ right away in the introduction? We can do so much more for the introduction, however, besides play the first and last line, by adding the I word, improvisation. Improvisation can mean many things, so don't write it off as something you're just simply not capable of and never try. Improvisation can mean something as simple as changing one chord, or it can range from all the way to creating a full prelude and postlude and everything in between. But improvisation is one of those things. The more you do it, the better you get at it, or the more tools you develop for improvising. But you have to start, and you can do that anytime. Well, here's how improvisation can be applied to doing something more than just first and last line hymn introductions. Again, I've read the words. I'm going to look for words, individual words or phrases that I can musically depict. For example, the hymn Love Divine has the words in stanza 1, joy of heaven to earth come down. So I can add a gentle flute melody. That comes down, and the hymn tune greets it. But the point is it's dropping. Or come down, O love divine. Perhaps this. Like a gentle feather falling. Or can you imagine what I'm going to do next for the text, O Savior, rend the heavens wide, come down in mighty stride. You're probably already hearing it, aren't you? evoke what it means a little bit more. So both of those cases were examples of some little musical figure that you can just come up with, improvise, and make that a little thing that you insert between each phrase, perhaps playing it straight out of the hymnal. Well, me, you say, I can't improvise like that. That sounds way too advanced. I'm not that gifted. Well, here's some ways you can start. For introducing a hymn by doing something other than just the first and last line, start with some simple things like alternating between unison and harmony. Etc. You could move the cantus firmus or the melody to a hymn around when you're playing in unison to somewhere other than the top voice of the hands, like maybe the feet. You could mix up the phrases, as the hymn at the beginning of this workshop did in Joy to the World. Start with the second line, and then the first. You could certainly do canon. It doesn't always have to be sweet, the canon. It can smart a little bit. Or you can develop some kind of repeated pattern in ostinato. Change it. When you have something that's repeated, when you get tired of it, change it. Just go to something else. Of course, you can do pedal point. There are many other things you can do that are simple that work your way up to doing more. But as you do these things, you're putting new tools into the toolbox, and the more you do it, the more it expands. There's a lot one can think about with hymnody, isn't there? But I think of it as something that we get to do. Of course, during this time of pandemic, we don't get to do it. And I grieve that, but I look forward to the day when we can. Thanks for listening.